All right, so we're diving into water traffic coordinator interview prep today. We've got some RoleCatcher resources to help make sure you're ready for anything they might throw at you, from maritime laws and all those logistics of moving vessels around to, those high-pressure situations that can pop up in a busy port.
Yeah, it really is a fascinating role. You need a good mix of skills like logistics and safety protocols, and you got to be able to communicate clearly when things get stressful.
Okay, so let's just jump right in and try out some sample interview questions. First one, tell me about a time you had to make a difficult decision under pressure. They're checking out your judgment and how you stay calm and decisive.
Right, so think about specific situations, like maybe you had to reroute a vessel because a storm popped up, or maybe there was a conflict between a captain and the port authorities that you had to resolve. And remember, details are important.
Okay, good point. And then be prepared for follow-up questions too, like what could happen if you made a different decision? Or how did you let everyone know what you decided?
Exactly. And really walk them through how you thought about it, like how you got the information you needed and what all you had to consider. Shows them you have a system for dealing with these tough calls.
Makes sense. All right, next question is all about staying up to date. How do you stay current on maritime regulations and best practices?
This one's about proving you're dedicated to constantly learning. RoleCatcher has some really useful resources, actually, like industry publications and conferences, even professional organizations like ILA, that's the International Association of Marine Aids to Navigation and Lighthouse Authorities.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, but getting familiar with those things shows you take initiative and really want to stay at the top of your game.
Okay, so let's say you've done your research and you walk into that interview feeling confident, and then they hit you with this, describe a time you had to coordinate with multiple stakeholders to resolve a conflict.
Yeah.
Captains, port authorities, shipping companies. How do you handle all of that?
Think of a time you had to be the mediator. Could be a scheduling issue or a disagreement about safety procedures, anything like that. And when you tell the story, emphasize how important it is to listen. Did you make sure everybody felt heard? Did you try to find a solution where everyone wins?
Yeah, they want to know you can handle those interpersonal dynamics and stay calm under pressure. Honestly, that's the skill that'll help you in any career. Speaking of careers, though, how about we talk about how RoleCatcher's AI can actually help tailor your CV and even your answers to specific job roles?
Oh, yeah. It's based on this thing called skills matching. Basically, the AI looks at the job description and figures out the key skills they're looking for. Then you can tweak your CV and practice your answers to highlight those skills.
So it's like having a personal career coach right in the app. All right, let's try another question. Describe your understanding of vessel traffic management systems.
With this one, they're trying to understand how familiar you are with the systems used out in the field. Could be radar AI as even more specialized systems, like port management information systems. They want to know that you get the tech and how it's used to keep ships moving safely and efficiently.
Okay, so this is your chance to show off any experience you have with those systems.
Okay.
Okay, get ready for this one. It's a real thinker. Imagine a scenario where two large vessels are scheduled to arrive at the same time, but there's only one berth available. How would you handle this?
Oh, yeah. This is a classic situational judgment question.
Huh?
It's all about thinking on your feet and using what you know to solve a real-world problem. Would you maybe prioritize one vessel over the other based on what they're carrying or how urgent it is? How would you talk to the captains and the port authorities to find a solution?
And remember, it's okay to ask questions to make sure you've got all the details, like what kind of vessels are we talking about?
Right.
What's their cargo? Is there a time crunch? Shows you're thinking critically.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, time for the one everyone loves. What are your strengths and weaknesses as a water traffic coordinator?
Ah, yes, the dreaded strengths and weaknesses. But you can totally rock this one.
How?
Well, when you talk about your strengths, be specific and give examples.
Yeah.
Like maybe you're a great communicator, or you're really good at staying calm when things get crazy. Or maybe you're super detail-oriented. And then for weaknesses, pick something you're actually working on improving. Shows them you're self-aware and committed to growing.
So maybe you're not a pro at some software they use, but
Yeah.
you're taking classes to learn it.
Exactly. You're turning that weakness into a positive.
Huh.
And it ties back into that idea of always being willing to learn new things.
Okay, good point. All right, let's wrap up this round with a question all about safety. Describe a time you identified a potential safety hazard and took steps to prevent an accident.
Ooh, this is a big one. Safety is absolutely crucial in this job, so they want to see that you're proactive. Think about a time when you noticed something that could have been dangerous. Maybe a piece of equipment wasn't working right, or somebody messed up a procedure, or maybe even a weather condition that wasn't being taken seriously enough.
And then walk them through exactly what you did about it. Did you report it to the right people? Did you come up with a temporary fix while they worked on a permanent solution? Details are key here because they show you understand how important safety is.
They want to see that you take responsibility for keeping everyone safe.
All right, I think we've covered some great starting questions. But remember, this is just the beginning. We've got a lot more to explore, and we'll do that in part 2.
It's interesting, how the maritime industry is getting so much more specialized these days. All these different types of vessels and cargo handling procedures and constantly changing regulations.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how does that impact a water traffic coordinator's career path?
Well, it opens up a lot of opportunities to specialize. You could focus on container terminal operations, for example, or become an expert in handling hazardous materials. RoleCatcher's Career Guide really emphasizes that continuous learning is key to staying ahead of the game.
So yeah, acing that interview is just the first step. You really got to be committed to learning throughout your career.
Speaking of the interview, let's get back to those questions. This next one can be tough. What are your long-term career goals?
Okay, so with this one, instead of just giving a job title, talk about the skills you want to develop, the kinds of projects you'd like to lead, maybe the impact you hope to make. Maybe you see yourself moving into a management role eventually or specializing in safety protocols, something like that. Whatever it is, try to connect it back to the company and the specific role you're interviewing for.
Show them that you're thinking long-term, that you're not just looking for a job, but a career. Okay, here's one that tests your diplomacy skills. Tell me about a time you disagreed with a supervisor or colleague. How did you handle the situation? Well, conflict is bound to happen in any workplace. So choose an example that's not, too dramatic. Maybe a disagreement about the best way to do something or a different interpretation of a procedure. And focus on how you communicated your perspective, how you listened to theirs, and how you worked together to find a solution.
Right. Even if you didn't completely agree in the end, did you learn something from it? Did it help you improve your communication or problem-solving skills?
Exactly. They want to see how you handle those tricky interpersonal situations. Okay, here's one that's becoming more and more common. Tell me about a time you had to adapt to a new technology or system.
Yeah. With all the new tech in the maritime industry, I can see why they'd ask that. What kind of example comes to mind?
Think about a time when you had to learn a new software program or a new piece of equipment, even a whole new way of doing things. Focus on how you approached learning it. Did you ask for training? Did you work with your colleagues? Did you use the resources that were available to you? They want to see that you're proactive and you can adapt to all these new technologies.
Makes sense. Okay, you ready for this one? It's a doozy. Imagine a vessel is experiencing a mechanical failure and is unable to maneuver. It's approaching a congested area with limited visibility. What steps would you take to ensure the safety of the vessel, its crew, and other vessels in the area?
Wow. Okay, this one really puts you to the test. It's all about your critical thinking, decision-making, and knowing those safety protocols. Take them through your process step by step. How would you alert the other vessels? Would you coordinate with tugboats or pilot boats? What emergency procedures would you put in place?
Right. Even though it's a hypothetical situation, your answer shows them how you'd handle a crisis. All right, let's shift gears a bit and talk about teamwork. What are your greatest strengths and weaknesses as a team member?
Okay, so for strengths, focus on qualities that are important for being a good team player, like being a good communicator, reliable, supportive, good at resolving conflicts constructively, and back those up with examples from your experience.
Good advice. And what about weaknesses?
Same as before. Choose something you're actively working on improving. Shows that self-awareness and dedication to growth.
Perfect.
Now, let's not forget about salary expectations. This can be tricky, but RoleCatcher has some helpful data on salaries based on your experience level and where you are in the world.
Yeah, and salary is just one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
You've got benefits, vacation time, professional development opportunities. Be ready to negotiate, but also know your worth.
Right. And beyond just answering their questions, think about the overall impression you want to make. Show them that you're enthusiastic about the position and why you're a good fit.
So highlight those relevant skills and experiences and tie them back to the job requirements. And don't forget to ask thoughtful questions too. Shows you're engaged and genuinely interested.
Yes, definitely. And most importantly, be yourself. Authenticity goes a long way. Now let's talk about follow-up.
Yeah. What should you do after the interview?
Definitely send a thank you note within 24 hours. Make it personal. And if you haven't heard back in about a week, it's okay to politely follow up. And even if you don't get the job, you can still learn from the experience. RoleCatcher's AI can help you analyze how you did and figure out what you can improve for next time.
Oh, that's a really good point. Okay, so we've talked about teamwork technology, crisis management, salary expectations, and follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
But before we wrap things up, there's one more important aspect of being a water traffic coordinator that we need to discuss. Okay, so we've covered all those tough interview questions, and we even got some great career insights from RoleCatcher. But what about those kind of unspoken expectations in an interview? The things they don't directly ask, but can really make a difference.
Yeah, you're right. It's not just about knowing the right answers. It's about the overall impression you make.
So what are some of those hidden qualities interviewers are looking for?
Professionalism is huge. Being on time, dressing appropriately, and coming prepared. It shows you respect the opportunity and the people you're meeting with.
Yeah, like you're setting the stage for a good meeting before you even say a word.
Exactly. And then there's your communication style. Are you clear and concise? Do you make eye contact and really listen when others are talking? All those little things show off your interpersonal skills.
Especially in a role like this, where you're constantly talking to different people. Captains, port authorities, shipping companies. They want to know you can handle those conversations.
Absolutely. And then, of course, there's that problem-solving ability. We talked about those situational judgment questions, but it goes beyond that.
So it's not just what you say, but how you approach the problem.
Exactly. Do you ask good questions? Do you think things through logically? Do you consider different perspectives before jumping to conclusions? Interviewers are watching all of that.
They're looking for that ability to think on your feet and adapt to unexpected situations, which, let's face it, is going to happen a lot as a water traffic coordinator.
For sure. And then finally, there's something that's hard to define, but so important. Passion.
Ah, yes, passion. The thing that makes your eyes light up when you talk about something you love. But how do you show that in an interview without sounding fake?
Just be genuine. When you really care about something, it shows. So when you talk about your experiences, your goals, your interest in the industry, let that passion shine through. Let them see why this isn't just a jive for you. It's something you're truly drawn to.
Okay, so we've covered those hidden qualities. Any last words of wisdom before we wrap up this deep dive?
Remember, preparation is key. Know your stuff. Research the company. Practice your answers. Be confident, but be yourself. Let your personality and your experience shine through. And most importantly, believe in yourself. You got this.
I love that. Believe in yourself. So important. Well, I think we've covered just about everything you need to know to ace that water traffic coordinator interview. From breaking down those tricky questions to showing them your passion for the field, you're ready to navigate those interview waters with confidence.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher is there every step of the way. From tailoring your CV and answers to giving you feedback on your practice sessions, it's an amazing resource.
Absolutely. So as you start this exciting career journey, remember to use those resources, stay curious, and never stop learning. The maritime industry is full of possibilities, and with the right mindset, you can chart a course for success.
And who knows, maybe one day you'll be the one sharing your expertise and inspiring the next generation of water traffic coordinators.
What a great thought to end on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and best of luck with your interview